This video explains interface segregation principle and why it is important. Without getting any further delay, let's get into the topic. The interface segregation principle states clients should not be forced to implement any methods they don't use. Rather than one fat interface, numerous little interfaces are preferred based on the group of methods, with each interface serving one submodule. It may sound a little bit complex, but in simpler words, it means classes should not implement any functionality that is not used even if it is great to have. And the other thing is, we should create multiple smaller interfaces instead of one big interface, allowing the clients to use only what they needed. Let's understand this principle using the coding logic. Let us assume we have a requirement to calculate the net salary of a full-time employee and also for contract worker. So we have defined an interface named iWorker with the two abstract methods, namely calculate net salary and calculate worker salary. So this calculate net salary will calculate the salary of the full-time worker, and at the same time calculate worker salary will calculate the salary of the contract worker. The rest of the things that we have mentioned in this particular interface are the abstract properties which are specific to these workers. For example, the ID, name and email are common to both the full-time and the contract workers. Monthly salary and other benefits belong to the full-time worker, whereas hourly rate and hours in month belong to the contract worker. Let's get into the implementation of this iWorker. You could see a class named full-time worker which is implementing this iWorker interface. And if you observe carefully, we have implemented only calculate net salary method and we have implemented the calculate worker salary because this has nothing to do with the full-time worker, and at the same time we haven't implemented the hourly rate and the hours in months. So if you look at the contract worker, if the contract worker class is also implementing iWorker interface, and similarly we are implementing calculate worker salary for this particular class and leaving the calculate net salary as unimplemented method. We are implementing the hourly rate here and hours in months also, whereas we are leaving the monthly salary and other benefits as unimplemented because they have nothing to do with the contract worker, whereas we have implemented the email, name and ID which is common to both. Now let's get into the execution of this particular code. You could see I have provided the monthly salary as 50,000 and the other. So it has calculated the net salary of the full-time employee as 58,000, whereas the hourly rate is 45 and hours in month is 240 for the contract employer. So it has calculated the value accordingly. Now you might have a doubt. We are not implementing the calculated work salary for the full-time worker, and at the same time we are not implementing the calculate net salary for the contract worker. To understand the problem, let's comment one among these methods. So I am commenting this calculate worker salary, which has nothing to do with the full-time worker. Now I will go back to the client code and execute this. And you could see that an exception thrown can't instantiate abstract class full-time worker with abstract method calculate worker salary. What does this mean to us? If you go back to this code, if you have defined something in the interface, it must be defined in the class that is implementing this interface. Now let us uncomment it and go back to the client worker code and rerun the program. You could see it is running as expected now. The pain point here is, although we don't need calculate worker salary method and these properties here, we are still defining them here. So these set of code constructs end up as stale code, which means we don't need this code and they don't have anything to do with the main purpose. So how can we address this? To demonstrate the interface segregation principle, we have defined a new interface and corresponding implementation classes. If you look at the properties of iWorker, we could observe that ID, name and email are the common parameters of both the full-time worker and the contract workers. So what we do is we'll take this particular piece of code and implement it as a separate interface. So we call it as iEmployee. And what we still need to do is we need to split this iWorker interface into furthermore smaller interfaces. The abstract properties, monthly salary, other benefits, and the abstract method, calculate net salary, completely belong to full-time employee and they have nothing to do with the contract worker or contract employee. So we'll pull these three code constructs to the I full-time employee salary interface. And then the rest of the code to the I contract employee salary. So now to comprehend the contract employee functionality and the full-time employee functionality, it is now much more simpler. And what we do now is we'll implement these interfaces. So the contract employee salary class will implement the I contract employee salary and define all the corresponding properties and the methods that they belong to the contract employee. Similarly, the same thing will be done for full-time employee salary class as well. And if you look at the client code, I'm uncommenting this piece of code to demonstrate how they are performing. Now I'm running this code. You could see the output is exactly the same, but the first implementation has a very fat interface which has everything in it, and you are forced to implement every property and method that belongs to this particular interface, although the client doesn't require it. And at the same time, the second implementation is quite simple and precise, and it is easier to comprehend. It will never force you to implement something which was never asked by the client. Now I strongly believe you understood why interface segregation principle has to be followed while designing a software code. If you have any queries, please feel free to mention in the comment section and I will definitely answer your queries. Thank you for watching.